Hey everyone, GameCube with Fries here with another collection video, and this time I'm going to be taking a look at my original DS collection. This is another one of the smaller collections that I have. I used to have actually quite a few games on the DS, but a lot of them were kind of games that I lost interest in over time, and I did sell a lot of them off. As it stands right now, I have I think 7 or 8. I used to have, I think, around 20 back in, I want to say 2010, 2011, but I gradually sold a lot of them off. So I just sort of kept the ones that I really enjoyed. So, starting off, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. And this is actually the first Castlevania game I ever played. This is what got me into the series, and this is a terrific Castlevania, especially as far as the Metroidvania games go. It sort of takes a lot of the things that were wrong with Aria of Sorrow, like the kind of haphazard level design. It feels a little more focused. It is a bit easier. It's almost too easy compared to some of the other games, but they made some general improvements to how the game works, like items. You can craft new weapons out of enemy souls. Souls can be leveled up by collecting more souls, and this does kind of lead to some grinding, but at the same time it isn't nearly as tedious as Aria of Sorrow felt sometimes. So it's really good. Definitely recommend it. Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. And I don't quite enjoy this as much as Dawn of Sorrow. I feel like it's a little more drawn out. You know, it recycles half the game late in the game. A lot of the late areas are just reskins of earlier areas, and the weapon crafting is gone. I don't think the skill system is nearly as interesting as the way that Souls worked in Dawn of Sorrow, but I still feel like it's a pretty strong game in the series. And here we have Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. I was never quite sure how to pronounce this one. Lighting's actually kind of fucking with it. This is probably my favorite Castlevania game of all time. It takes everything that worked about all of the other sort of handheld Metroidvania games that were out on the DS and the Game Boy Advance, and the stuff that worked about Symphony of the Night, and it really feels like it sort of takes it and sort of marries it with some of the more old school design aspects of the original Castlevania games. Like, there's actually some hints of Castlevania 3 in here. You're sort of going around exploring outside of the castle for half the game. It feels a lot more open-ended. The areas are much shorter, but they're more focused and more challenging. The game in general is actually much more challenging than either of the original DS games. And it never quite reaches a point where you have to grind for stuff like you had to in some of the other ones. Like this one, it feels it's the most focused. It's the most focused out of the DS Castlevanias. It's the most challenging. It's just all around a really great game. Definitely highly recommend that one. It's a shame that was the last sort of Metroidvania style game that we got in the series. Kirby Squeak Squad. This is a pretty decent Kirby game. It kind of falls into that same trap that a lot of the other Kirby games do, where it's very easy. I finished this game in 2 days. It feels kind of like a successor or a sequel to Nightmare in Dreamland, which was a remake of Kirby's Adventure on the NES. It really does feel like that kind of game where you're going through these worlds, you're opening up these different levels, fighting bosses. It's very linear, but it's very fun. It's very well made, despite being incredibly easy. There is some challenge to getting 100%. And I think it was the last world, to open up the last world, or one of the last worlds, you actually did have to go and find these specific pieces of treasure. So there is replay value. I definitely recommend this if you're a Kirby fan, but if you're looking for a more challenging platformer that you'll actually want to revisit more often. I don't know how much I can recommend this one. This game, on the other hand, Kirby Superstar Ultra, which is a remake of the Super Nintendo game Kirby Superstar, which is essentially a collection of sort of smaller Kirby scenarios. And this is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love the amount of variety that this game packs. You'll progress through the game, you'll complete the sort of mini-games inside, and each one really does feel different. One of them is a remake of the original Kirby's Dream Land. There's like a race mini-game. One of them is kind of this open-ended exploration-based game where you're hunting for treasure, and they kind of expanded on that idea with Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. This is a absolutely terrific game. Had a lot of fun with this. There's like 3 boss rush modes. Really, really like this one. Dog is going fucking nuts downstairs every time I film. Here we have Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey, which I have not played that much. This is kind of another one of those games where it's an RPG that I bought, but I never really had the time to get into. I definitely can see myself getting into this if I ever get the time, because it is a lot like Shin Megami Tensei 4 on the 3DS. This is a bit of a bizarre one because it has more of a sci-fi spin than the other SMT games. They're usually more of a modern setting with demonic stuff thrown in. So this is kind of a weird one, but it definitely feels like something I would enjoy, especially as far as SMT games go. Just kind of weird and different compared to a lot of the other games in the series. And to call an SMT game weird and different in its own series is really saying something. And lastly, we have Super Mario 64 DS, which actually does not play very well at all on the original DS. Playing this game on a D-pad is incredibly clunky. I have no idea how I managed to beat this game back when it came out on the old gray DS when I was a kid. This actually plays very well on the 3DS with the circle pad. You can actually like spin around and move, and the Bowser fights can actually be done without the stylus, which is absolutely fantastic. There are still some problems I have with it, like running, having to hold down a button to run feels kind of weird after playing some of the other 3D Marios like Sunshine and Galaxy. This is good, but I can definitely see why a lot of people dislike it. I do like that they added more stuff in. I actually like switching between the different characters. I absolutely love the levels. I'm a big fan of, people call them collectathons, platformers, where you just go around and collect stuff. So this really did appeal to me, and it still does. I actually do revisit this one pretty often still. Good stuff. So anyway, that was my really small DS collection. I've kind of trimmed away a lot of fat from this collection over the years until I've gotten it down to the point where it is small, but it's all games that I still enjoy. A lot of the other games I used to have were, kind of games I had picked up and finished once and never really touched again. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time.